Hey everybody, welcome back to the Monday Mail Call. I'm your host, the Duckman. Well, today we actually don't have any mail. Guess that. Nobody sent anything to me. I guess they realized when I had been in quarantine for a couple weeks that they just stopped sending me things altogether. So we're glad to be home, sitting in Ruby right here, about to go take a ride, making sure everything is recording like it's supposed to. It looks like yay. I've actually got to run some errands. And I keep getting asked by you guys, hey, when are you going to record another Ruby video? And well, the answer is right now. So let's go ahead and take Ruby on out and see if I can answer some of the questions you guys have been asking about my quarantine, what happened to me, how's my dad, and the whole works. But anyways, before we get into all the questions, yes, I'm healthy, and yes, I did just fine. But we're going to get into a little more of that right after the intro. So thanks you guys for watching. Don't forget to licky, likey, comment, subscribe, and we'll be back in just a minute. Right out in front of me. Like some kind of a-hole. Nobody's behind me whatsoever, but we gotta have that one jerk that pulls right out in front of me. And, of course, it happened to him, too. Which affected me doubly, but yeah, I'm glad he got one. Anyway, oh boy, this whole quarantine thing. Over 2 weeks ago, I got that call from my dad. Well, particularly from my dad's girlfriend that said he was sick, really sick, unable to even get up to be able to go to the bathroom by himself. He's just been in some really, really bad shape, and he refused to go to the hospital, and I couldn't talk him into it. He didn't even want to talk to me anymore. In fact, he was so winded that he couldn't talk to me. So my girlfriend, so my dad's girlfriend went ahead and called 911, got the paramedics over there, and blamed me for it, and I'm glad for that, because guess what? Now he's in the hospital. He's was on a pressurized mask, delivered 100% oxygen, and he was panicking. He kept panicking. He kept getting angry. He kept fighting. And despite not having the energy, he was still just a mess. A mess in the hospital. So they had to sedate him. And they said even while sedated, his heart rate was still way up and his blood pressure was way up. So despite being sedated, the poor old man was still stressing out. So they did what I didn't want to have to see, because it was a good sign for him not to be on a ventilator, but that's where they put him. They put him on a ventilator. They sedated him even more so that he's not conscious. And the poor guy is in some really, really bad shape. And here we are over 2 weeks later, and that's still where he is right now. His condition has been improving. They've reduced the oxygen on him, weaning him off the ventilator slowly, because apparently he's doing much better. But I've got my own opinions on the whole pandemic that's going around, the whole illness, this corona crap, whatever everybody wants to call it. COVID, there's a million different names for it. I'm sick and tired of hearing about it. I'm just tired of the whole thing the whole way around. And the nurse said something to me, and she kind of slipped up when she did. They said, "We got your dad on antibiotics." Now, if that alone didn't flip your trigger, you tell me what did. So I said, well, why is Dad on antibiotics when he has a virus? And she says, well, he's got pneumonia. I said, well, yeah, he's got pneumonia, but isn't it caused by the virus? And she goes, well, no, he's got a bacterial infection. But don't worry, we got him an antiviral, drugs too. I said, well, what happened here? Was one a result of the other? Was his COVID test actually positive? Now, I'm not trying to start some kind of conspiracy here, but right then and there, she started backpedaling a lot. And actually stopped explaining things, because it seems I caught her on something. Well, anyway, I didn't want to get her in trouble, and hopefully nobody at the hospital is watching this video or even knows who I am and who my dad is, to be able to connect two and two that she loses her job. Because I'm glad that she was honest with me in the way that she was, but I had my doubts now as to what he actually has that made him so sick. My dad's girlfriend, she's recovered just fine. She had a long period of no appetite and just tired, but not really much else of a problem. I was exposed to her, having walked in her wake of the places she had been, which made me concerned that I may have gotten sick. And of course, I was in my dad's house, and I crossed paths with my dad's girlfriend a couple times as I was delivering food to her, trying to take care of her, trying to do the right thing. And here I am potentially infecting myself. Anyway, every time I would go to her doorstep to put food on it, she'd open the door. It's like, damn it, you're going to make me sick. Stop. Wait till I at least get away from the door before you start opening up the door. Anyway, with all that said and done, it's been over 2 weeks. I came out with absolutely nothing. I mean, whether they have the COVID or not, I don't care. That's really not the concern. The fact is they were sick. I didn't get sick. So whether it's my good immune system or my preparation or some combination of all the above, I'm fine. And I'm glad for that. But the whole trip running back and forth to my dad's, and I've been back and forth several times, so I decided to take advantage of the several times that I had been back and forth when I was outside of my quarantine. I decided to make some trips, and I decided to stop some places and meet some people, some of my YouTube fans, across Florida. So I stopped over in Earl's shop a couple times. Actually, I think I've been to Earl's shop 3 times in the last month. Earl is doing fine. He's still working on Eleanor. You'll see some updates on that over on Earl's channel. If you haven't seen it already, check out duckshit.net/CCC, which will take you directly to his channel. Make sure that you subscribe. Also, over on the other coast of Florida, opposite to where I am, I'm on the Gulf Coast over here. Over on the Atlantic coast, South Florida, I talked to Eric Fernan of the Fernan Chop. He's the guy who inspired my Volkswagen Beetle, also known as Eleanor. The whole roof chop, the first cut, I mean, pretty much the entire method that I had chosen was derivative of his project. So all the stuff that he set as a baseline, I went from that, made my adjustments to build what I wanted. Huge inspiration, and I reached out to him and I said, I'm out on your end of the state. Can I come see your car? And he was very warm and inviting and said he actually wanted to have a cruise for me. And I was impressed by that. A Duckman cruise? He says, yes. He ended up putting an event up on Facebook, had this cruise. Fort Lauderdale and Miami guys showed up. I think we wound up with about 20 cars. And it was a very spur-of-the-moment thing. I mean, they planned it less than 24 hours in advance. And boom, all those guys showed up. And it was absolutely amazing. I met so many nice people. I had a great time. More on that, of course, with that video. It's coming up, but you'll probably see it this Wednesday over on the DuckmanCycles channel. So be sure that you're looking out for it. While I was down there and I was heading over to Miami to go meet those guys, the 350Z decided to blow a tire. I had this huge bubble coming out of the left-hand rear tire. The tread was all separating, and it was bad. It was bad. I noticed it after about the first 20 or 30 minutes of driving, which, if you know from where I was, where I had to go, that's about a quarter of the way. So I had to turn around and go all the way back home, and I switched out for my dad's car. And I figured dad's car couldn't possibly have an infection. The car sits in the sun. It's probably 160 fucking degrees inside of it in Florida. If there was anything inside of it, it's long dead. So I drove that across the state, met the guys, and just had an absolute blast. Absolute blast. And then when I went on back and I returned to get the 350Z to try to figure the tire problem out, guess what happened? Yes, the AC decided to give out right in the middle of summer in South Florida. The damn air conditioner stopped working. And I shouldn't say it stopped. It's actually still providing cold air, but it's not as cold as it's supposed to be. And it's kind of a sudden thing. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. I checked the pressure in the system. All the pressure seemed to be good. So I don't think it's a compressor. I don't think it's the volume. It's got to have something to do with one of the switches or the controls, or something is just not doing what it's supposed to do, quite obviously. So I've got to dick around with that some. And it's annoying, but I'll make it happen. Oh man, my mailbox was full. Every time that I come back and forth, mail is full. But it wasn't anything for Mail Call Monday. It was just like stacks of bills. And of course, I've been out of work for the last several weeks, and that's putting a little bit of a dent in my future plans with building my shop, which means I don't have any money to invest into the project this month, which absolutely sucks. And I haven't asked for anything from anybody, but if you guys could support me up on Patreon, over on PayPal, that would be great. Every dollar that I make is not to spend on my bills. I can pay my bills. I'm taking out of my investment right now for the shop that I plan to build to record my videos in. So if you guys would like to throw me something, I would greatly appreciate that. Right now, I need it more than ever. Links will be down below in the video description. They'll also be down below in the first pinned comment. Like I said, you can hit up PayPal or you can get on Patreon, and I mean, every little bit counts right now. Every little bit counts. And, I'm asking for help. I'm asking for help if you can. If you can't, that's fine too. I hate asking for anything. I don't really like handouts, but it's not really a handout because if you guys give me something, I'm giving something back in the form of videos and work being done in shop and continuing progress with the things that I do here. Needless to say, I don't have to be on YouTube. YouTube is something I do because it's fun. It's kind of nice that it's actually starting to pay, but I'm living off of that money right now. So as I said, it's not going into the shop fund. So anyway, we're in Ruby right now. It's hotter than hell out today. It's probably not even 90 degrees, but the humidity is up and the wind isn't blowing. You can look out, you can see none of the trees are moving around at all. So the air is just stagnant, still, and sticky. Nasty. Absolutely nasty. So, Dad's still in the hospital. Dad's girlfriend's getting better. In fact, I was trying to record a different video when she was trying to call me. I've got my little draggy device, which is right here. I'll probably be recording some of the data with the Fastback today to see exactly how fast Ruby goes. So you can watch for that video coming up probably next week or, well, maybe even this week if I get a wild hair and I get it edited in time. But we'll get to see what's going on with that because I've been curious as to how big the engine is in this car. Everybody seems to think that it's extremely fast. I think it's just the way I drive it. It's all about technique. Speed of the car really, really does come down to the driver. What is this guy doing? Speaking of speed of the car. Come on, you dildo. Here we go. Moron. The hell out of the way, you fuckface. So anyway, that's my life in a nutshell as to what's been going on for the last several weeks. I'm actually starting to lose my voice because I'm trying to project it, making sure that this microphone is picking me up accurately. Of course, everybody's got the damn stereos on too loud, but, that's just them. Oop, gotta be careful on this thing here. Bottom this bitch out. All right, well, it's good to be back in Ruby again. I mean, I haven't driven Ruby in what seems like it's been a month. And it might have even been a month. I missed a Volkswagen tech session up here in Pensacola because I was quarantined that weekend and it didn't work out. I missed one of the Volkswagen Club car show committee meetings because, again, I was quarantined. And during the time that I was quarantined, I actually spent time away from Pensacola. I decided if I'm just away from home, there's really not a whole lot I'm going to do anyway, so I just spent a lot of time reading. A lot of time reading on Volkswagen stuff and investing my money and trying to prepare things for the shop, where I want to build, looking at properties, and I spent a lot of time reading over the last several weeks. A lot of time. So I feel enlightened, I feel good, I feel refreshed. It was nice to have a bit of a relaxation or a vacation, even though my nerves were on edge. Physically, I was somewhat relaxed. I didn't have to bust my ass working too awfully hard, which isn't entirely true either, because while I was at Dad's house, I went around the house and I started fixing all of his old man repairs. And my dad's not a dumb man by any means, and it's not that he doesn't know things. He's old and he's limited. He's not as strong as he used to be, and he's certainly not as tall as he used to be. My God, the guy used to be 5'10", and I think probably now is about 5'3". He had some osteoporosis in his bones, so he shrunk up considerably. So he doesn't do things like he used to. So, if something falls down, he just sticks some tape on it and puts it back up. Well, needless to say, his ceiling in his garage was falling down. I mean, that's pretty serious, because that could kill somebody or take out an eye or something. I mean, all the drywall was all coming down. And when I looked at it, mind you, the house was remodeled back in 1995. That's when he moved into that house. And the drywall was mounted to the ceiling. Instead of splitting it on the beams and the trusses, they just stuck it haphazardly wherever. So some of the 4x8 pieces of drywall are held in by 6 screws. It's like only 6 screws is hanging onto this. And of course it's in the garage, so he goes up in the attic hatch and he starts putting stuff in there, and some of the stuff was sitting on the drywall, which over the years started to cause the screws to pull out. And some of these huge pieces of drywall were falling down in full sheets. Just full sheets. All the tape was all ripped out of them. I mean, it just was an absolute mess. So there's 2 things you can do in that case. Either go up underneath the drywall and try to make some kind of frame so you got something new to screw into, because you can't put screws between the screws because there's no trusses there. Or you can cover it with more drywall or tear it all down and start over again doing it properly. Or the last thing is I simply just took some 2x4s and I stretched them across the trusses and ran some screws into them, covering all the seams and all the drywall, and reinforced the entire ceiling as is. It also gave him some beams, which gave him some nice hooks and things to attach some stuff to. So now he can hang all the stuff that he works on in the garage off the hooks on the ceiling. And while I was up there, I decided to tear apart the old garage door opener also, because that thing, I couldn't believe it. I looked it up. It's as old as I am. It's a 1970s garage door opener from Genie. And opening up the lid on it, everything looked brand new inside because it was nicely covered and protected from dust and the elements and the whole works. But it was old and it was having a lot of failure problems. So I put a brand new garage door opener in for him. I ran all the wiring to it, set up the stupid infrared beams. I hate those damn things. But nonetheless, they're there. They work. I hooked up the button out in the kitchen the way it's got it. It had a night light on it, which is kind of an interesting side effect. So he's got a night light in his garage now. He's got it's in the kitchen. He's got a night light in his kitchen now. So that's kind of cool. Everything's functional and works. And I also discovered the garage door itself has the old-fashioned stretchy springs on it. And he had those all messed up too. Apparently one of the pulleys ripped out of the ceiling at some point. So he put some chains on it. So one side was pulling the door way too hard, causing it to cock in place. And the door wouldn't open and close smoothly. It would bind up all crooked. So I fixed that too. Oh, nice. That was bright. Let's just sit there, dummy. Anyways, that's it for now. I'm healthy. We're going to keep on pushing through here. We got videos to come up, a lot of travel videos, you guys. Because as I said, I've been out and about all over the state. So you guys are going to be seeing a lot of that stuff coming up in the next few weeks before I can go back to working on videos with B and on the Carmen Kia. I was hoping to have a lot more done on that stuff, but you know, when life calls, I got to answer. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, like it, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to pluck the dingle bell. We get updates every time I upload a video. And thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.